This episode is brought to you by...
Looking to escape the ordinary and explore the extraordinary? Meet Jani Kovacevic, your personal luxury travel expert. Whether you're craving an epic expedition to the Arctic, a sun-soaked, all-inclusive getaway, or a once-in-a-lifetime trip with the whole family, Jani curates every detail for a seamless, unforgettable experience.
From bucket list adventures to multi-generational family vacations, she tailors travel to your pace, your passions, and your people, with luxury every step of the way.
Don't just travel, explore in style, discover with ease, and make memories that last forever.
Call 254-721-2000 or visit travelbyjani.com and start planning your dream escape today.
They'll talk about anything and to anyone. They're straight out of the streets of Temple, Texas. It's Randomness with Heath and Josh.
All right, we're back. What's going on, Josh? How you doing?
Wonderful. I'm still riding high, dude.
Still riding high. Yeah, we had a weekend, didn't we?
Yeah. Great weekend.
We had so you guys, let's see, last weekend we did two live shows. I'll kind of start from the beginning. I drove down to Old Temple,
Jones
Texas.
Bones.
With Jones Bones was with me. He rode down with me, and it was kind of funny. There's this guy trying to pass me or whatever, and so I took Jones Bones as a skeleton, just so you guys know. And I took Jones Bones and shoved his face up against the window, so when he did get around me, he kind of freaked out. It was funny. I wish I would have recorded that.
Yeah,
Jones Bones travels
close model, right?
Yeah, he travels with me whenever we do live shows or something, because we put our shirts and hats on him and stuff for merch and whatnot. Jones Bones got to scare a few people. It was fun. But anyway, so I came down to Temple actually on Friday. I got off a little early, came down, and Josh and I went out with some friends to our, we have to go to Neighbors. What did we do first? We went and ate at
Mas Fajitas.
Mas Fajitas. We had never eaten there before.
Same.
Neither one of us actually.
Yeah.
And we met up with our buddy Janice Keith Washburn, and her husband Brian.
Yeah.
And it was tequila night or something, because
Tequila
it was
Day, National Tequila Day.
That's not. I don't drink much, and man, that was not. Yeah, I had a lot. I had way too many drinks for one setting. I think I had like 4 or 5 margaritas or something, and then they're always fun. I love them. And then so the next day we had 2 shows, and we went. Our first show was from 2 to 4 at Wings Pizza and Things. Did I say that right? I did. Wings Pizza and Things. I always want to say pizza first for whatever.
Well, because you're familiar with other wings joints, so
yeah. And that show was a little different for us. It was very quiet. Because that place, there was a lot of people there, don't get me wrong, but we didn't have a lot of people show up to be on the show like we're used to. So it was a bit of a learning curve. But Mike Dent came, he's the owner.
Yeah.
He came and sat down with us twice. He sat down with us the first time and just kind of talked about, the business and how the new place is going and how the old place is doing and things of that sort. And then he's like, hey, you guys order some food. And he came back while we were eating live, so he could kind of tell us about the food or whatever. It was really neat. And then, of course, Watch Temple, now Watch Central Texas, they were there. So shout out Jose and Jazz for hanging out with us for a bit. And then there at the end, Josh's sister, Cheryl, and Justin jumped on. And it was really cool because over the years, Josh, I haven't really, I guess, seen it, but Josh talks about some paranormal stuff that happens in his house when we were growing up. And so since his brother, one of his brothers and one of the sisters and one of the brothers there, because there's how many, 5 of y'all? That's 3 in all in one spot. It's very rare. And so I'm like, hey, I want to talk to you guys about the paranormal stuff. Go ahead, Josh.
So it was a treat to get him on. It's like, I don't think, maybe individually we would have been able to get him on. They're kind of like, nah, I don't want to,
Yeah. Well, podcasts aren't for everybody.
But it worked out, getting them on there. And I think they had a good time telling stories. So,
yeah, I kind of dug in a little bit, and I started asking things about, what like, we know how annoying Josh was as a little boy, things like that.
That's right. I was the spoiled baby.
Yeah, because you were the youngest.
Yeah.
And then we kind of went into the paranormal stuff, and like, yeah, they were like, yes, this and this happened or whatever. So that one will come out later. You guys can listen to that. Make sure you listen to that. And then, so shout out Mike Dent, Wings, Pizza, and Things. Thank you so much. He has been just amazing to us. He invited us back, so we'll probably be back at some point. And anyway, just long story short, the guy's just an amazing guy. Please go check that place out. He does a lot for the community. A lot of that money that goes into that restaurant comes out and helps people. So get on over there. And then we took a quick break, run over to Neighbors, and we did a Neighbors show from 7 to 9 inside because it's so flipping hot.
Yeah.
And man, it was awesome. I think there was probably 200 people there. It was a lot of people there for us, but there was a lot of people there for Jacob Corley, aka Jat Music, if y'all don't know him. He is, God, he's only a 25-year-old kid, but he's become a good friend of ours. He came on the show a couple times now, and he's got a deal with Netflix. It's really cool. So he's doing a lot of music around in that area. And anyway, and then we had so many friends come and sit down with us, and we just had a lot of fun. And then one thing I want to highlight before we jump on with our guest is our buddy Jeremiah Red, who throws all of those comedy shows there in the Central Texas, a lot of Temple Belton and whatnot. It was his birthday. It was his 33rd birthday. So all of us were there to celebrate that as well. That's why there were so many people there too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm being my regular self, and I'm trying my best to talk to everybody and see everybody, because we did that show for 2 hours, and people were waiting for me to talk to them and Josh to talk to them, and whatever. We finally get to the end of that, and then we're putting up, and then we're trying to talk to more people before they leave and blah. Well, then they keep coming over to me. Hey, we're doing a shot for his birthday. We're doing a shot for his birthday. I finally get outside. I don't know how many people is that? 10, 12 people were doing the shot, right? And they wouldn't tell what it was. They wouldn't tell us what it was. So, I'm smelling it. I'm like, okay, it's tequila. I think it's pretty sure it's tequila. So everybody, 1, 2, 3, happy birthday. We take the shot. 3 seconds in, you're like, all right, it's not too bad. About 6, 7 seconds, you're like, all right, this is horrible. This tastes like the bottom of a trash can. What is this? And it was horrible. Like rubber. I was gagging, doing the dry heave. Everybody else is looking at each other like, what the heck? Well, come to find out, that shot was only meant to go to Jeremiah, and at the last minute they decided, screw it, let's give it to everybody because no one else knows. Well, actually, Brandon knew because he's the GM there, and he's the one who ordered it or bought it. And I had words with him afterwards. But anyway, so we take that shot, and it's god awful. And right after that, it's like everybody wants another drink, right? Because they're trying to get that taste out of their mouth. And so that's what I did. I literally went and got another shot of something different because I'm like, get that taste out of my mouth. Well, then this guy Gary, I was calling him Scary Gary because he didn't like it. And Gary came up to me and he's like, hey, I got this margarita, but it's a little different. Take a sip. And I'm like, all right. So I take the smallest sip known to man. It's made with that same crap. So what it is, what is it called? Malorts?
Malorts. Jeppson's Lemort.
Jeppson Lemort. And it's from Sweden, right?
I think so. I'm trying not to read the history here, but it was first showed up in Chicago in the 1930s from the Carl Jeppson Company. And let's see what it's made of primarily. It's a Swedish word for woodworm.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's got like...
It tastes god-awful.
Weird, exotic flavors.
Yeah, it tastes like plastic, trash, woodworm, wood. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But then going back, it was like, okay, I took a sip of that. Immediately I got another drink. So Rob that owns the place, I'm like, dude, this is perfect. You got to sell this stuff because you have one drink, you're going to have another one, right? So now you're spending, you double up on the drinks because you're drinking this crappy ass Malort. It was horrible.
So that's it. It's become like this niche thing where it's like, it's just awful. You got to try it. You get your buddies to try it. And it's just a fun kind of, almost like a prank to pull on someone.
Yeah. So if anybody ever offers you Malort, do not drink it. Do not drink it. You know how when somebody says this smells like crap and And then they go, smell it. And you're like, no, you just told me it smells like crap. I don't want to smell it. It's the same thing. This tastes like crap. Taste it. No, I don't want to. It tastes like crap because you just told me to, so don't taste it. It's the same thing with Malort. Don't do it.
A quote.
You heard it first.
Yeah, a quote is like, it's taking a bite out of a grapefruit and then drinking a shot of gasoline.
Yeah, that's close. That's close. But anyway.
And it's been described as being the worst tasting alcohol ever.
True.
Oh, and then someone else that evening was like, "Oh, it was made to kill tapeworm."
Yeah, no, that's true. I read that. I was like, "What?" And they, when we're drinking this, of course, we drink a bunch of other crap that we shouldn't be drinking either. It's like you drink like Coca-Cola, and then you go do this thing where you put Coke in a like a bowl or something and put a nail in it, and come back 2 days later and the nail's gone, and you're like, "I'm drinking that." What the hell are we doing to ourselves? Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Like you literally put like a nail in Coca-Cola and a couple of days later, and then you can use it to wash stuff. That makes no sense, man. Whatever. Like thins paint. Yeah, I'll have some more.
It's a good
prank.
Right.
Anyway, it was a good prank. It was a good prank. That next morning, or actually when I got home Temple the next day around 12:30 or so, I text Rob and Jeremiah, and I was just like, F Malort. And they're like, good morning. Yeah, it was freaking awful. All right, let's move on. So we're 163 episodes in, and we're bringing in mental health advocate Sara Mahan Soenen. Did I say that right?
You did.
Okay. All right.
You did.
Welcome.
I wrote it down and I couldn't read my own handwriting. So I was like, please, because I wanted to say Soenen with the E in there. That's what it was, I think.
I know. Well, I went from one name that I had to spell to another name.
Right. But so the reason here, let's do this first. So we don't usually do faith-driven stuff, and we also don't do politics. But the reason we have Sara on is because she's a mental health advocate, but faith goes along with what she's doing. So I just want to premise that first. That's why we're doing this, because I know y'all are gonna be like, well, y'all don't ever do that, so why are you doing that? But just so people that aren't familiar with you and what you do, we'll get to what you do first. Can you tell us a little bit about childhood and where you come from? We know you're from Temple, but everybody else doesn't know that.
Well, born and raised in Temple. Let's see. Grew up going to First Baptist Church. Lost my dad when I was 12 to suicide. Lost about 5 members of my family by the time I was 17. So I lost both grandmothers, great grandmother, my dad, and one grandpa.
Wow.
No, 2 grandpas, 1 grandma. I switched that. Sorry. By the time I was 17, and then just kind of went through normal life, and then went off to college at Baylor. And Baylor was kind of where I would say reality set in. All right. When you're going through childhood, you kind of still, even with such a traumatic loss, you're still kind of going through the normal phases of being a kid.
Right.
And I think my mom did a really good job of trying to keep things as normal as possible. Wow. So you're still really busy, still kind of going through life. And then when you go to college, I feel like that's kind of when reality set in for me of like, oh, I'm different. Things are different. And while I knew that, it's just like you were so busy. You're kind of out of your support system. You're out of your where everybody knows you, which is both good and bad. And you're out of your comfort zone.
Right.
So I went off to Baylor. Didn't do so well in school. I wasn't really interested in school. In hindsight, I wouldn't have gone. If I could do it over again, I wouldn't have gone right to school. I just was not ready.
You weren't ready for that?
No. Well, and I was young. I graduated high school at 17.
Yeah, no, that's how my son's going to be too, and it kind of scares me in a way. But before you say anything else, I kind of want to jump back. So you lost your father when you were probably what, about 12?
So I was in 7th grade.
You were in 7th grade. Oh man, goodness. Okay. So I don't know, like I got to be careful here. I know, so I don't want to.
You don't need to be careful. You just
Well,
ask me what you want to ask.
Well, yeah, but he's been gone for goodness
35 years.
35 years. What do you remember most about your dad?
Just a very engaged father. I mean, I don't have really bad memories. I think I was very fortunate that at the kind of like time in my development that my dad, your dad's still kind of your hero. You haven't like faced the reality of like this flawed human that, all of us are. I would say that he passed away when I was still at a very like, he was my hero. I enjoyed spending time with him. I have all wonderful memories of him. I feel like he spent a lot of time with me. Being an only child, that does help. But just a very engaged father who was around all the time.
So, I mean, at 12 years old, I mean, you didn't see this coming at all.
He had been diagnosed with depression. This was like 1990. I mean, we didn't really know a lot. We didn't.
But at 12, did your mom and dad tell you that? Like you knew that?
No, not those words.
Okay.
I knew that something was different. I knew that my dad was seeing a counselor. I think I knew he was on medicine, but to be honest, I'm not sure. I will say that there is a lot of my memory. I'm sure some of it has to do with trauma that is blurred. So sometimes I don't necessarily see things in the time continuum in which they happened.
I gotcha.
So I think maybe I knew, but I could be wrong. I think I definitely knew before I left the house, but if I knew while it was going on, I can't be sure of that. I knew he was meeting with somebody in our church and was, seeing a doctor. So he was doing what I would say is all the right things.
I gotcha.
Therapy, doctor, medicine, counseling, mentors, other men. I didn't know all of those pieces of that puzzle at that time. But I found all those pieces out later.
How did you find out that he passed?
Oh, that was a tough one. So, I did not know that it was coming. I learned some things later. But I just remember being pulled out of the classroom at Bonham.
Oh, you were at school?
I was at school. And Rebecca Matthews, Emily Matthews' mom, and at the time, the youth pastor at my church, which was Ben Lane, came and they were sitting in Mrs. Pope's office. And all they said to me was, I think they said, your dad's been in an accident. I knew he had passed. I can't remember all of the pieces of what was said. And I do remember like sitting in the back seat with Rebecca and saying to Rebecca, well, I know I'll see my dad again one day.
Wow.
And then poor Marcia Pope had to tell me, I don't know. My life has come full circle, and her grandchildren go to my kids' school.
Oh, wow.
And I saw her, I guess, last fall at a football game. And I was like, Bert and Marcia, and they were at church with my parents. So when she was telling me, like, she knew my mom and my dad on a personal level, because my dad was a deacon at First Baptist.
Oh, okay.
And my parents taught Sunday school and were a part of the youth ministry. And my parents were really engaged in the church. And so looking back, I like feel for her that she also had to tell me that, because she knew me like not just as a like student at the middle school.
Right.
And so when I saw her last year, first of all, I didn't expect it, but I had just like a total like emotional response. And I was like,
I'm sure.
She was like, I said, do you remember me? And she was like, Sarah, of course I do, and Bert was there. And I was like, I had kind of forgotten that they had been in like Sunday school with my parents and had known them.
Yeah.
And it was really cool for me to like see her now, all these years later. She got to meet my kids, met my husband.
Nice.
And I think for me, it was kind of like, hey, you saw me on my like darkest day, and now you get to see that like my life has come full circle, and now I'm a mom and a wife, and I have kids and a family, and
right.
So that's been kind of fun. So I get to see her every once in a while now.
That's awesome. That's
cool. Sweet lady. So that was kind of how I found out that he passed. But then I got home, and there was probably 100 people at my house.
Oh, I can imagine.
And my mom was just a mess. And, as you expect somebody to be in this moment, but my mom could not get it out to tell me what had happened. And my neighbor actually told me. Yeah. And because she was like, you have to tell Sarah, you have to tell her. And my mom was just like, no. And it wasn't even like that. My mom, I felt like, didn't want me to know. I just think she couldn't like even get it out.
She just couldn't get it out to tell her daughter.
Yes. And so she ended up telling me. And I obviously was really emotional, but at the same time, there was literally all these people in our house and moving in and out and just constant. It was the beginning of like the busyness of life, and then the busyness of like people helping our family. Yeah.
Well, just the overwhelmness alone is more than enough. And then what's happening too. I couldn't even imagine. I'd shared in an episode a while back, when I was 13, my 10-year-old cousin took his life. And that's
10.
Yeah, he was 10. And it's not written that way that's what happened, but that's what happened. And I, 10-year-old, I don't want to get all upset or whatever, because I will. But so it wasn't my dad. That's totally different. But he was a very close cousin. I was 13, he was 10, and he looked up to me like crazy, And then we knew there was issues, but we didn't know there was that much of an issue, for a 10-year-old to take his own life. But anyway, I want to go back to, because when I met you, I didn't meet you until probably your dad had definitely passed away. And
I think I was a freshman.
Yeah, I think even maybe before that. I think you were in 8th grade, and maybe there was like some sort of gathering at Young Life, or
that would track.
Whatever, something like that. And I can't remember who or what, but there was whispers, it's like, I probably, who's this, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this whisper of, she lost her dad. And, okay, that's, it's horrible. But every time, whatever there was, and you might not know this, there was these whispers of, she lost your dad. And I'm just like, I feel like kids don't know how to, I don't know how to express something like
how to
sorry
respond to that.
Yeah. Or you're afraid. Like, I feel like people probably were afraid to talk to you. You know what I mean?
I felt that.
Okay. And that's what my question was, is like, did you feel that kind of stuff? Did you know that was going on?
I guess I always kind of felt like I had like what I would say, like, remember the book, The Scarlet Letter?
Oh yeah. One of my favorites.
I would say I felt like I had the scarlet letter of S for suicide.
Yeah.
Even though I never made the choice.
Right.
I think that's what the hard thing was, is like, I had nothing to do with any of this. I'm the one left behind. But people definitely, especially in the 90s. It's so different now.
Yeah.
But just having, I think that's when the reality for me set in. I know I'm jumping forward here just for a minute, but
No, you're okay.
in college, when I would have to explain that I didn't have a dad and that my dad had passed away and that my dad had passed away by suicide, the reactions I got were a
Yeah.
lot, especially being at a Baptist university.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I was blown away at the things people would say to me.
Wow.
I mean, some people would be like, "Oh, well, I'm Catholic. Did you know that your dad's in hell?" And I was just like, "I just met you." Like,
Wow.
just all, or just they wouldn't say anything, but it would be written all over their face. Either the judgment, the
Right.
like, "Oh, you must have some sort of disease that I might catch." Kind of like leprosy, I would imagine, that people on a very different scale, but just
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
that, like, oh,
Well, I did it. I know I did it because I can remember, going, "Oh, she's a super cute girl. I want to talk to her. Her dad has passed away," and pulling back.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
it was like something I didn't know how to deal with, and I
right,
didn't know how to speak to you. I thought, that's what it's kind of ignorant to say that out loud, but that's as a kid,
sure.
that's how I felt. You know,
Well, you're
and so then
probably
there's
like, is she gonna lead with that?
yeah, but yeah, but there's that stigma that stuck to you because of that, and unfortunately, people that's what they associated you with,
Mhm.
and I know that had to be horrible. And here I was doing it too, but I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know what was right, what was wrong.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I think
to
most people didn't.
Looking for the coolest treats in Central Texas? Head over to Bee's Treats, a proud veteran-owned food truck serving up creamy frozen yogurt, smooth acai bowls, and delicious fresh coffee. Planning a wedding, family reunion, corporate event, school function, or community market? Let Bee's Treats bring the flavor and fun to your special event. And here's something you won't find anywhere else. Bee's Treats is the only food truck with a built-in truck tracker on our website. Just visit eatbeestreats.com and see exactly where we're serving next. That's Eat Bee's Treats, EATBS Treats.com. Proudly serving Temple, Belton, and surrounding communities. Bee's Treats. Follow the truck, find the treats, make every day sweeter.
But then I got to know you a bit, and then we hung out a few times with other people, and me and Patelski and Tim would come to your house and swim, and
Mhm.
or those type things, and it went away. I never thought about it ever again. Of course I did, but it wasn't something that was always stuck to you like it was at the beginning. And then I can remember, you were with your mom a lot. I saw your mom, and she's the sweetest lady. And, then as I got older, and maybe just even older in high school, I can remember seeing you and your mom and going, man, I feel so sorry for your mother because she's such a sweetheart, you know? So I don't want to get emotional because I'm about to. But it's tough and then I'm going, wow, why am I reacting to it? You're the one who should, can I only imagine what you're going through, you know?
Well, I
So
think it's just being a peer. You're like, oh, I'm this age and I don't have any idea what that's like. And she's
yeah,
this age, and why is she dealing with this?
yeah, yeah. Did anybody ever talk to you in a negative light because of it? Like besides like what you just said, like did anybody
That
give
was more
you crap?
that was more once I left Temple. I never had anybody say anything like
Okay.
that to me at home.
Okay.
That was like leaving the comfort and space of like everybody knowing that in the small town, or at least the people that I was interacting with knew, and not really having to like talk about it.
Yeah.
Now I was in a situation where I was at a school where largely everybody had both parents that were engaged, um,
Yeah.
because it was, a Baptist school. It's just like very traditional.
Right.
And I was already felt like sort of an outlier just having a single parent, let
Yeah.
alone then having a single parent that have this like tragic story that I have to explain.
Right. Yeah.
And not all of it was just at Baylor. It was just like leaving the world of Temple
Yeah, for
and just
sure.
having to explain it to people.
Yeah.
The older I got, the easier it got, but I also like still had all my own questions, and it took me a long time just to even ask things. I think, one of the things that's hard is like no one probably wanted to talk to me about it because they didn't know what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, why isn't anybody talking to me?
Yeah.
But then I didn't really want to bring it up either. So it was kind of this awkward dance. And I'm sure it's
Yeah.
played a role in how I parent. I parent very differently. I'm super straightforward with my kids to the point of making them uncomfortable. But if they ask me a question, like I give them the answer.
The
And they're
truth,
like,
right?
yes. They don't like it always. It's
Yeah.
a big joke. They're like, oh my gosh, don't ask, don't ask, because she'll tell you the truth. And I'm
How old are your kids now?
13, almost 14, and 11.
Oh yeah, so they're like, no, mom, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, they
okay.
definitely don't want to know. That's just how I operate. That I tell them the truth.
Right. Well, okay. I do want to move forward. I don't want to focus just on that the whole time, but we had to get that part of your story to get the rest. So, at what point did faith come into play with your father's death, and getting through that, and how did you use that, or did you?
Not till a while later. I think I went through middle school, high school, and just wanted to be as normal as possible.
Sure.
I don't even think I had gotten angry yet. I'm sure it was simmering.
Yeah.
But I still loved being involved with Young Life. I still loved, being in Bible study and going to church. And I felt like I had a lot of people that were praying for me, looking out for me, watching over me, which was both good and bad. I always felt like I couldn't do anything because everybody knew where I was and what I was doing at all times, and there was no anonymity.
Yeah.
And even not to say to do anything I shouldn't be, but just like I always felt like there was somebody that knew something that it would get home.
Yep, I know how that is.
I definitely felt like I didn't have a lot of anonymity, and so I think because I was so had such great community that I would say 90% of the people in my life like all meant well. I was able to be pretty stable and had a pretty normal middle school and high school experience for somebody that had gone through all the things that I had gone through. And then I think I got off to college, and that's like I was saying that was kind of the reality. And I think I was met with the reality that most peers had not have any fragment of an idea of what I had gone through. And I always struggled to relate sometimes to my peers because I just couldn't get in the weeds of some of the superficial, because I was just like, this is stupid. I'm sure it came off like that I was better than, which I never meant it to be. I just thought I couldn't relate. I couldn't relate to some of the just frivolous teenage things.
Right.
Because I had all this other things going on in the back of my mind. And so I felt like it was futile. And then I got off to college, and I still had some of that. And now it was in this like Christian culture bubble. And it kind of gave me a bad taste in my mouth of Christians and Christianity. I was also in the psych department at Baylor, which was sort of kind of a mess.
Well, those two things together could definitely be a mess.
Yes. And, like the good old bedside Baptists that would get dressed like they had been to church and then walk down to the dorm cafeteria. And I'm like, what are you doing? Who are you doing that for?
Yeah, right.
So I'm like, if you don't want to go to church, just don't go.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Don't get dressed up and pretend that you went when I was with you last night and saw,
right,
what you were really doing. just like I was doing. So I think that's kind of when some of the anger started, and just kind of like, well, this is crap. Like, this is crap that all this has happened to me. And, you know, there's things that happen in our lives that happen to us, and there's things that happen in our lives because of our own, poor choices. And up until most of that point in my life, that was happening to me, right? Like, I didn't make any of those decisions.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of anger, and I just wanted to feel normal and just feel like a normal kid, and like do normal things. And, and I think that's like when I started to like, oh, I'm going to drink finally, because now I don't have 5,000 people watching. And, but I also think like that was like trying to just kind of numb out a little bit.
Sure.
And just not deal with things. And I ended up on a whim. I went to Young Life Camp and worked as a horse wrangler for a month. And half of the summer staff was Young Life leaders from Baylor. And they were like, you should be a leader. And I was like, I'm a mess. Like, I don't think I should be like helping other people out.
Yeah.
And the head guy of the Young Life, he was like, Sarah, just come. And I was like, I'm not really in the best spot. And he's like, I don't care. Just come to our meetings with the leaders. I was like, okay. I was like, I liked all the people that I was on staff with, and it was none of the like fake crap. And so I ended up started doing Young Life. I became
I like how you put that. It's none of the fake crap.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like,
because I get what you're saying totally.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a Baptist house too, and my dad was a deacon, the whole deal. So
yeah, all the surface. I'm like, I don't do surface. I don't do fake. I just, it's not me. And so I really liked all those people, and they weren't like that. And they seemed to like have it together, which, no one does, but you know what I'm saying? They just seem more genuine. Sure. And so I kind of got plugged in, and that kind of probably kind of held me together again. But I still was struggling. And then I began to really struggle academically, which I didn't really know was me becoming depressed. Depression and anxiety can kind of affect your ability to
big time
function.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
And going to school when I didn't really even love it, and I wasn't some kid that like had this path, like I'm gonna go be an attorney, or I'm gonna go be For a minute I thought I was going to be a therapist, and then I was like, a lot of these therapists are a little different. I just don't think I fit here. And I just didn't, everything was too gray, and I don't know. Some of it was depressing, and I was like, this isn't helpful. I just want to get my degree and get out of here. But I really started to struggle. And it got to the point where my mom couldn't get a hold of me.
Oh, no.
I wasn't like kind of engaging, and Matt had actually flown home for Easter, and he emailed me, and he's like, we're going to meet up in Dallas. And I was
You're talking about Patelski?
Yeah. And he's like, he goes, I'm not flying home for your funeral, so we have to figure this out. And I was like, whoa. And I think he probably knew, just because our moms were so close, and he and I would talk, but not a ton, because he was at Baylor for a little bit.
Yeah.
And he and I would talk now and then. I'm not really sure how he had the discernment, but he knew that like I was struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And so he and I met, and I just said, I was like, I just want you to know, like, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just like kind of apathetic.
Yeah.
He's like, okay, but just wanted to check, I wanted to like get eyes on you and really see if you're telling me the truth. And I would say I just was in this space, and it was interesting. I described this to this girl just the other night at dinner, and I said, I just was like, I just kind of prayed that like God would take me home. And so,
Wow.
and it was interesting what she said to me. She was like, oh, so you just, you just didn't feel like this was home. And I was like, oh, I never thought about it that way. I always thought about it in like a super negative sense, in that I just was apathetic to this life. But it was interesting that even though I was angry at God and I was apathetic, I was desiring to like basically be in heaven. I was like, I'm just done. Like, I don't I don't really know what I want to do with my life. I don't really feel like I have a path. I'm like at school, but I hate school. I really have no direction. And, I think I just really started to kind of struggle. And, I was like, okay, well, I need to like pull myself together. And my mom had moved me home and had put me on meds. And she was like, I think you need medicine.
Yeah.
And I was real resistant. I was like, I don't want to take anything. I don't want to take crap. I don't even know what this is. I felt funny.
It takes a while to figure out which one's the right one too, because
And I just didn't want to take it. But
yeah,
I was at home and she was like, you're taking it. And now I look back and I'm like, my poor mother. She's probably like, she's already gone through this. Now she's seeing her
Right.
daughter. Like, I can't imagine like what was going through
Right.
her mind. And I was ornery, still am, pretty stubborn. So I took it and, it helped. But I also did counseling. And I had a counselor in high school. But I don't know. I think it was just not really a great fit. There was nothing super negative about it, but it just wasn't a good fit. And I had also had a terrible psychiatrist, because when I went off to college and started to really struggle academically, they tested me for ADHD, which I did not have. And basically, my mom paid like what at that time was like $500, which if you think about it now, it's like $1,500, right?
At least, if not $2,000, yeah.
For this guy. And he just like reviewed my tests, like asked me some questions. And this was like my first semester at Baylor. And he goes, well, it sounds like your life's been kind of shitty. This is what this psychiatrist said to me.
Wow.
And I was like, well, yeah, I didn't really need you to tell me that.
Yeah, right. I paid you
you're
how much for
supposed
you to
to,
tell me that?
You're supposed to help me.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom was so mad.
Oh, I bet.
I didn't pay for that. So anyways, when my mom finally got me to take something, because I was so struggling in school, I was just not really going to class. I was just a mess. She found me a counselor here and in Temple, who I still love and have seen a couple times since. And I got to bring my dog, which at the time I had this little 7-pound Yorkie Chihuahua. And so she let me bring my dog, and she had a little dog, and our dogs kind of played, which
They played.
I didn't really realize how like badly that probably got me there, was that I could like bring my little dog. And she made me do some super intense, I don't know if you've heard of EMDR.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to do EMDR. I had to do this stuff where I had to write with my non-dominant hand and like kind of go through some things where
the brain switches.
Yeah. She made me walk, like go back to the time when I like saw my dad in the casket. I mean, I had to do like
wow,
really, really deep dive, tough things. And so I did those things together. And then I kind of, I got plugged in at a Bible study just to like kind of develop some friends while I was living there. And I felt like the combination of all of those things was like super beneficial. So it wasn't like one thing. I was like, I'm doing all these things, but I would like go to therapy for a while, and then I just would take a break. And I would tell her, I was like, hey, I don't think I'm done, but I'm I'm worn out. You know,
Yeah.
I was like, I just want to be a 24-year-old or however
Right. You
old I
just,
was.
yeah, right. You just want to do what everybody else does at that age, right?
Right. I was like, I can't do this every week. You know, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. Right.
And so I did it for a while. And then I just kind of got to the point where um, I felt pretty stable. I ended up moving to Austin. And it was kind of like I hit that next phase of my life where things were kind of like going again. Things were good. Um, but then they plummeted again. I kind of fell apart. I had a coworker that took his life, and I was one of the
Oh
last
my
people
goodness.
that he called.
Goodness.
And it was not long after Matt had passed away, and
Oh.
we drove to the. It was a terrible funeral, terrible, no hope, just there's so much grief, so much loss. I've only been to one other funeral that was that horrible, and I
Wow.
was with a bunch of my coworkers. You know, no one probably shared my faith, and they were like, "Is this what funerals are like?"
Mm.
You know, some of them it was like their first funeral,
Wow.
and I said, "Oh no." I was like, they didn't even talk about our friend. You know, a
Right.
funeral should, at minimum, be honoring of somebody's life and talk about them. And they didn't really talk about him. And I just remember being really upset. But we were driving to the grave site, and it was the same place that Matt was buried. And I was just like, I'm out. Sorry. I mean, I literally looked at the girls in my car, and I go, I can't go.
Yeah, that's
And they didn't. And after how bad the funeral was, they didn't want to go either. And
yeah,
so
right.
I was like, we're done. And
Yeah.
we went back out, and I don't know the timing. This is another part of my life where some of this is a little blurry, but the night of Melissa Jones's wedding, I ended up drinking way too much. I don't even remember how much I drank. My mom was with me at the wedding. She didn't think I had drank too much. Nobody really noticed that I had drank too much, but I ended up getting in my car, and I ended up getting arrested.
Oh wow.
Trying to drive back to Temple.
Wow.
And I was just a mess.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah.
And I my mom was engaged and in California.
Okay.
And at the time, this is a fact that I did not know, that you cannot call a cell phone when you're in jail.
Oh.
At that time.
At that time, you can only call like a hard line.
Yes. And so I had to call somebody that I normally would never have wanted to call, but that was the only person that I knew to call.
Wow.
And I ended up having my future stepdad's brother got me out of jail the next day.
Jail. Wow.
And two people were trying to get me out, and I don't know what you call the bail lady. I don't know.
Bail bondsman.
She was like, I've never seen, like, you've got multiple people trying to get you out. She goes, you must have like angels. And I was like, I don't know what I have. But that's great.
Because I'm out of character and they want to help me. That's why.
Well, my college roommate, they actually thought it was a joke. They were like,
yeah. Well,
Sarah's not in jail.
You just telling me now got a little chill because I know you, and I'm like, what?
Right.
But, it happens to the best of us.
Right. So I ended up getting picked up by my future stepdad's brother, who I knew well. And they brought me home. And this was like, I want to say less than a month before my mom's wedding. And I was 25. And before this happened, like that whole situation at work where that my coworker took his life. I got fired. My car got stolen. I mean, my life was just like plummeting. And I just was like a mess. And so here my mom is marrying this guy, and his daughter, his future stepdaughter, is a train wreck. And so my mom gets married. Gary DeSalvo married my mom and 3 of the other pastors, because she had been working at Temple Bible Church this whole time. And I had to ask my mom if I could move in with her and my stepdad.
Oh, man.
And which was super humbling. And I was like, can't get, much worse than this. And so I had to figure out a job. And then I had to go meet with a probation officer.
Yeah. Yep.
And those are some interesting places.
Yeah. Well, then every time you leave the county, you got to call them.
Yep.
or whatever.
Yep. Well, I actually had a female.
Okay.
And she was incredible. And so she kind of like asked me what happened, and I told her that I was driving, and I'd actually hit the side of an 18-wheeler.
Oh, wow.
And somebody called because they saw me swerving. And, I was still like in the dress from the wedding. I was not dressed appropriately to be handcuffed. Wow. Anyway, so I was telling her the story, and she said to me, she goes, well, God just must not be done with you, Sarah, if you're still here. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I was not in a place to necessarily want to hear all that yet. I wasn't angry, but I was like, okay. And she goes, well, I just think that, there's a story for you.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, okay. And she was great. She got me a volunteer job because I had to do community service.
Of course.
I had to have like a super, I can't remember what kind of license it was, but I had a different kind of license for a short period of time.
Oh, okay.
I ended up getting it down to obstruction of highway passage.
Well, that's good.
That's all I got. But I had to do community service. And it was funny because I started doing this community service in Austin because I was arrested in Williamson County.
Okay.
And so I started doing community service at a nonprofit in Austin called Family Elder Care.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, what am I doing? I'm envisioning like I'm in nursing homes or something. And she's like, no, this is like a nonprofit. You're going to work in the office.
Okay.
I was like, oh, okay. So I started volunteering, and, I'm there for community service. So I'm not there to work or do anything else, but to work for them in this capacity. And they know that I have committed some sort of crime. They're not
crime, right? Yeah.
And so I just started working there, and they all really liked me. And I ended up there was a lady that worked in what's called legal guardianship. It's for people that are over the age of 18.
Right.
Not for minors. This is for adults. She was a probate attorney. And she just asked me one day, she's like, what'd you do? She's like, why are you here? And I was like, oh, drinking and driving. And she was like, oh, okay. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't, something spooky. And I was like, okay.
Okay. At Temple Smiles Family Dentistry, we treat every patient like family. From kids to grandparents, our team makes sure everyone feels comfortable, cared for, and right at home. A Temple native with over 20 years of experience, Dr. Kirsten Gosney will listen to your concerns and provide compassionate, individualized care because your family smiles deserve the very best. Come see Dr. Gosney at 2302 South 37th Street in Temple, Texas, or learn more at templesmilesfamilydentistry.com. That's templesmilesfamilydentistry.com, or call them at 773-1970. Temple Smiles Family Dentistry, where healthy smiles begin.
So I started helping her like clean up all these files. At the time, they had like 500 clients. And so it just was a lot of work for one attorney. And so I started volunteering there, and then I ended up working part-time there. And then I worked part-time for a little while. In the meantime, I ended up moving to Austin. My mom gets married. And my stepdad had been kind of wild in his days. He no longer drank, but he had been kind of a wilder guy. And he never like said anything to me about my choice. He never like judged me about it, and just was kind of like a steady force with me. And I think it just showed me a lot that he didn't say anything or shame me. You know, I already felt bad. I already knew
Right.
I made a terrible decision. And I knew where he stood, but he just never was like, look what you did. And so I think that kind of had a big impact on me, that he just was steady and was engaged with me and my mom. And so in the meantime, I looked for an apartment. I ended up moving to Austin, and then this job turns into a full-time job. And then it was like the office joke. They're like, oh yeah, she's a CSR, which was like community service and restitution. And, you know, like whenever you fill out job paperwork, you're like, do you have a record? And I'd always have to put yes. And I'd have to say it, and I'd have to explain it. And any job interview I went on, like I would have to talk, explain what that meant. And
wow.
So it was sort of like the office joke, because when they would fill those things out, they would be like, oh, we know Sarah does. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so wild. Crazy how like all of that changed. And so I ended up getting plugged in, and that's from there. I felt like things just kept on the up and up. I got involved in a church. I got involved back in Bible study. Just found a community of friends. I really loved my job. I ended up meeting my husband, I guess, probably like 4 years later from when I moved. And
so you finally got your groove. You found
yes,
where you were supposed to be.
Yes.
So just for the lack of time, I do want to move forward a little bit. So at what point did you decide, hey, there's something that you've been called to do, and you started your nonprofit? And tell us a little bit about that.
I think after getting postpartum the second time.
Oh, after having kiddos.
After having 2 kids. Okay. I got postpartum after my daughter, and I think looking back, after my son, I think looking back, becoming a mom was just way harder than I ever thought it would be. And I also never envisioned myself, like, it sounds weird, but living that long. Like I never allowed myself to like think about being a mom and a wife. And so I felt like very uncomfortable with this role.
Right. Well, that makes sense. You've been through a lot.
And I also was like, just felt insecure about being a mom. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, which I never realized.
All moms.
Like everybody feels that way, moms and dads. But I don't know. I felt like I was really like ill prepared. And it was a big shock to me. So I got postpartum after Zeke, but it quickly kind of resolved. And then I got postpartum after Priscilla, and they went like the preventative route. And so I took meds. I took meds after Zeke, but it was like 9 months done. And then I took meds after Priscilla straight out of the gate. Like I delivered and I started on medicine. And I adjusted a lot better, but it just kind of didn't go away. And then I ended up, while I was pregnant with Priscilla, I spoke on a panel at our church about postpartum with a licensed counselor and the church pastor's wife. And she just kind of, the counselor that I spoke with was like, you should just come in and like meet with me. And I was like, why? I'm great. This is when I was pregnant with Priscilla. And I was like, Ben, I've done plenty of therapy. I'm good to take a break. And she kept nudging me that like I should just come in for like a check just to see where I was at. Because I think I must have told part of my story in that talk. And so I ended up getting postpartum again, even though I was on meds, and I still really struggled. And so I was like, well, okay, now I'm in my 30s. I'm a mom. I'm married. Like, why am I here? Like, I get why I was there before
Right.
of all the things I had been through, but now why am I here? And so I went and met with her, and she had kind of told me that like maybe this was something I would struggle with off and on throughout my whole life. And I remember being like kind of angry about that. I still would say now in hindsight, I would disagree with that. But at the time, it kind of made sense just based on, I was like, oh, okay, well, I have struggled a lot and I've been through a lot. Okay. And I just remember leaving there and wanting to be like, okay, well, who's like a believer that struggles that's written about it? And so I remember like going into a bookstore and I'm like, this is crap. There's nothing here. And it was like either books written by people that had never been depressed, books written with like these like really dark, ugly, like depressing covers. And I'm like, well, I don't want to be more depressed.
Right.
And I just remember thinking like, well, these are my options. Like there's just nothing here. There's nothing here in the faith space. I'm a believer. At this point I had like come to the realization that yes, like I fully believe in the gospel. Like I've embraced this at this point. I'd gone through all my anger and my frustration and had come to feel like it was my personal faith. And so I thought, well, there's got to be books. And I just remember going into the bookstore and being like, there's nothing there. And whatever is in here, these I don't relate to.
Right. Yeah.
And there wasn't that much. This was still like 2012.
Okay.
So a lot's changed even since 2012.
Yeah. Right.
And so that was kind of where I decided, well, like I have a voice, I have a story, I have a different story. I feel like I want to lend my story out there. What that looks like, I don't know. At that point, I just was like, I'm different and I want to use it for good.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's kind of where it started.
So you started writing, like doing a blog, right? Is that basically what
I just started writing just kind of for myself to kind of like,
okay.
Even just to kind of piece some of it together, as we've talked. And I said, I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Times, like just to kind of like, almost like in a therapeutic sense to just write it out and see what happens. But it was really for myself. At that point, I had not even thought about blogging, and I had little kids and I just was in the weeds of being a mom. And, I would kind of go back and forth with it, but I just didn't like what the options were that were out there. I felt like everything was either over spiritualized, like you're just going to pray it away and poof, you're going to be healed.
Right.
That's not to say that there aren't miracles and that doesn't happen, but that's not all people's story. So let's stop giving that as the answer. But I also didn't want people to feel like, well, this is who I am forever. This is my identity. Like, no, that's not true either. And so it was like, well, where's the middle here? Where's the middle ground of not being like over spiritualizing and then also recognizing that it's real, but also not like sticking this to someone and saying, this is who you are the rest of your life as a depressed person or an anxious person, whatever those things are. So where's the medium and what does that look like? And so then I started to write, and then I kind of put it away and thought, oh, what am I doing? And then just in like the last year, I was like, no, it's time. My kids are old enough now. They're so busy that I need to do something for myself, and this is it.
All right. Yeah. So then you turn that into this hope and laughter, right? So it's
Yeah.
basically it's a nonprofit where you blogged on it, right? Like I mean, you
Yes.
still have the blog, but
Yes.
at the same time, your whole thing is to help people with mental health through faith, right?
Yes. I mean, my goal with it is to, my first step has been that I've been meeting with like churches and counseling centers, um, therapists, people that I've like kind of personally vetted based on my worldview.
Mm-hmm.
And because, there's a lot of bad therapy out there. There's plenty, both in the secular world and in the faith-based world. Like
Sure.
it's not exclusive to either one. And so I've kind of, um, like there's a church here that has a staff of 32 counselors and they have their own counseling center. And I met with the head of the
Wow.
counseling center, shared my story, like talked to him. And I'm like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put these resources together. And I want to be able to send people to a place where obviously I can't vet like every single person and know every single thing, but at least I
Right.
can feel confident because basically once I started sharing my story, people were constantly asking me like, well, who do you go to? Well, who do you recommend?
Sure.
Like, and I get that, asked to me all the time. Well, who's a good therapist? Well, who would you go talk to? Or what's your take on this? And obviously I'm not a medical professional, but I still feel like I do have a lay person's knowledge of some.
Yeah, right. You got a little experience in that, right?
So that's kind of how it started, is that people would always kind of ask my opinion and where I would go and who I would recommend. And I was like, well, maybe I need to like build this out, you know, and
Right.
find people and find, one of the counseling centers, like they offer like courses. Some people have like therapy groups, others have like support groups. I'm like, how do people go and find all these things in a central location?
Yeah. Okay.
Eventually I would love to have like a hotline and sliding scale therapy so that people, because therapy can be expensive.
Yeah.
I talked to one guy in Omaha that he had found a way they had learned some things about billing in order to bill appropriately and get reimbursed, as well as to reduce the cost for people, you know, um, just all different things. The hotline I
Mhm.
started to realize was a really big task that I have to work up to because I have a lot of thoughts on how
Right.
people should answer the phone. And, I don't, I would definitely want someone to not feel like, oh, I'm going to call this hotline and they're going to start talking to me about Jesus,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So
I get that.
I realized that was like a far bigger task than I was ready for at this point.
Right.
But
I
that's like an
gotcha.
ultimate goal.
If someone wants to reach out to you or reach out to your nonprofit, the Hope and Laughter, where would they go?
Well, my Instagram is the Hope and Laughter. And then also just my personal Instagram, which is SMZ Soenen.
And then don't you have a website too? The Hope
Yes,
and
the
Laughter.
hopeandlaughter.org.
There you go. Okay.
And you can email
That's
me at sarah@hopeandlaughter.org.
if for someone that has gone through something similar to you in life, what kind of, what would, what is the word I'm looking for? I guess just, what advice would you give them on how to get through it?
Definitely not alone, that they need to
Okay.
talk to somebody. They need to have community. They need to have friendships. Who are they confiding in about the hard days? Who's checking on them? Who
Right.
is looking after them? And just that there is hope. It
Yeah.
does get better. I just had a friend recently lose her husband and who had two kids, same age that I was,
Yeah.
and you we all are tougher and able to handle more than we think. I think we've lost the ability to realize that we can get through hard things. If you look at our grandparents and our parents, they have gone through so much hardship and heartache, and think about what wonderful people it has shaped them into. And I would say that God will use it. It won't go wasted. There will be redemption, and there is hope.
What would you tell a parent that's like your, say, in your mother's place today, that, loses their significant other, how to help their child that's going through what you did?
Just to be honest.
Okay.
And to ask them questions. And I think my mom did a really great job of putting people around me that I could confide in. It wasn't always that my mom was the person that I confided in. I mean, when I eventually asked about the details surrounding his actual death, it wasn't my mom. It was our pastor's wife.
Oh, okay.
And so I think, like, if there are people in your child's life that they feel comfortable with and that you as the parent trust, like, sometimes that's almost more beneficial than we can't always be everything to our kids, right?
Right, yeah.
But we definitely put our kids in community, and they're surrounded by other adults and other families. And those families are probably what held me together. It wasn't all just, my mom was a leader in a way that was, she just showed me. She modeled to me. Like, my mom's faith was always strong and it never wavered. And that was such an example. But she wasn't always the person that I chose to, like, confide in. We talk more now.
Right.
Now, because I just bring it up and I make it awkward. And I'm
Well,
just so blunt that those conversations happen now. But I would say that she did a really great job of surrounding me by people that she trusted and that I trusted.
Fair enough.
And I think it was much more intentional than maybe you realize as a child.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
That's
I'm sorry
so
if I
heavy.
got too long-winded.
I only cried once. I can't believe it. Just to end it on a fun note at the end, I always kind of do a couple things. First of all, when you think of me, what do you think of?
Oh, I guess swimming in my pool. And band, because I was on drill team, and I think about, like, all that time. I was telling my daughter, I'm like, she was like, well, he was in the band and you were on. I was like, we had to practice together. They had to know where to go around us. We spent times, like, they were on the bus beside us. It's like we would travel together, I don't know.
Right
Lots
on.
of good memories. Friday night football.
Yeah, fun. And then another thing I was going to ask, what do you do to have fun? Like, what do you do to go away? Like, to forget everything we just talked about, just, to get away from that for fun, like maybe with your family or whatever. What do you like to do that has nothing to do with everything else we just spoke about?
Well, I spend most of my time on the baseball field. My son plays baseball and my daughter plays softball. And so most of my time is spent at my kids' activities. And if not, then a date night and maybe a day at the spa if I'm really lucky.
Okay, I was going to say, if you could do something by yourself, what would it be? But there it
is,
right there.
Good book and a spa.
Fair enough. Well, again, thank you for sharing your story. Everybody, don't forget, you can go to, hopeandlaughter.org.
Mm-hmm.
So go check that out. And we will also link everything in our page when this is out. So when it's out, it'll be out. But so don't forget to go to randomnesspodcast.com, check out everything Randomness, grab some merch, go look at pictures, watch stupid videos, things like that. But Sarah, thank you so much for being on.
Thanks.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll catch you next time. We're going.